The playoff run you guys were on was absolutely tremendous as a 6 seed, the last wild card team to win the Super Bowl uh, when you did it, and knocked off some very good teams. The Eagles, who I thought was going to go to the Super Bowl that year, they beat the Steelers in the Super Bowl, who were a very talented team. What were some of your favorite moments and experiences just from all those games, all four of those games of that playoff run?
Man, listen, it's crazy that you say that because a lot of people don't remember we were like we was a wild card. So every game, I'm gonna tell you like this, came up to the game against New York. We were at home, and the coach came to us. He said, "Look," he said, "guys, if we want any type of chance to go or even get a wild card to even sniff the playoffs, we have to win this game. But we know that if we win this game, every game from here on out is a playoff game. So that was the mindset, So when we went out there and it was freezing, I remember it was like yesterday, we was freezing. We go out there and we played New York, and I think matter of fact, Lil Wayne was there. Lil Wayne had came down because he's a big fan of us. Came to the game and whatnot. It was just a big game, and we ended up winning the game. And that day after that game, we just had that aura. We had that, how should I say that?
Swag.
That swag that we knew, like, hey, we on the road now. Here we go. So we're from New York, and I think I don't think who the next team was. I think it was either it was Philly. I give you probably each one of my best moments out of each game. That moment out of that game is when I want to say my boy Terrell T. Williams got that interception. Oh, it was one of the most prettiest interceptions thrown in the it's in the end zone. He's falling backwards, and when he caught it, I think it was going to Cooper, I believe, for the Eagles. I don't know what receiver it was going to, but if they would have caught it, they would have probably won the game. But that was a great interception by him. If you guys would look it up, I mean, it was perfect. It was just like him just diving back, just floating in the air, and it was just like boom, it was money. After that game, I think we went to I think it was, I want to say Atlanta, and I think 2 weeks prior, Atlanta had whooped us, and they were talking smack, and they were saying a lot of things and saying, oh, this is going to be easy.
I
This is
remember
the
what you
year
guys
for.
did to them. I remember what you guys did to
Oh,
them.
man. So I'm going to tell you one of my memories from that is it was right before halftime. And I think T-Dub, again, he got a pick, took it to the house. And next, we were up by 21. And we like, here we go. That was the money in the bank, man. And then I think I want to say the next one, if I'm counting right, is it was Chicago. We went to Chi-Town. It was pretty exciting to me because I got the chance to play against my cousin. A lot of people know Lance Briggs is my cousin. So I got a chance to play against Lance Briggs, and one of the best moments of my life was seeing my boy B.J. Raji, which that was kind of my close guy on the team. B.J. Raji getting the interception and doing the Raji dance, and right then and there, man, after that, it was just like we there, dream come true. And and I guess the most memorable part of the night before the Super Bowl, and a lot of people probably didn't tell you, but we got our fingers measured. And to be honest, a lot of teams don't do that until after you won. So they kind of tell you where our mindset was. Man, and that kind of set the bar. And then next thing you know, we get there, and it was pretty sweet because what made us feel even more comfortable is one, that it snowed down there, so we felt like we brought some snow down there. In Texas, it don't snow in Texas, and so we come from Wisconsin. We like, okay, there goes one. That's one sign, and then everybody in Texas was like, let's go Green Bay, and then, another thing was that we was the underdogs too, because a lot of people were saying with Ben and other guys having experience, Super Bowl experience that, nobody on our team had, and it was like, we got 8 guys on injury reserve, and then not only that, it's a guys that's starting as MAC players. Like we had a lot of guys that was like from small Division Ones, that was guys that, that was just that wasn't heard of, but we worked well as a team. We were good, we were just like the underdogs, point blank period, and so we had already came in, like you said, with that swagger, and then we went in there, my boy Nick got the pick. Oh my God, man! It was just on. It Rod was on fire. It was a great game, and then my boy Clay Matthews, the most probably best play ever during that time is when he made I forgot the running back name. He made him fumble. We picked it up, and that was kind of like the deal.
I think it was Rashard Mendenhall.
Man. Oh man, yep, Mendenhall, yep, that was him. And
That was him. That was him. That was him. We are talking to the former. We are talking to former Packers Super Bowl champion linebacker Diyral Briggs. Now, Diyral, when you look at the NFL now and the game has transitioned, and you look at all these personalities, Odell Beckham, you have Le'Veon Bell. I'm just talking about guys that were in New York. There are tons of them. You have Russell Wilson. You have Cam Newton. Is there any player that stands out to you that you can compare and contrast to some of the players you played with in the NFL?
Oh, let me see. Honestly, it be you might a lot of people might not believe me, but it's so hard for me to kind of watch football anymore. So I barely watch the NFL. But if I had to say a player recently that I felt like that was close, would probably be honestly Von Miller.
Von Miller, huh?
Yeah, I love his personality, but you know what? The way he plays on the field, it's that Von Miller and Khalil Mack.
Yeah.
It's probably because I'm honestly a defensive player and I'm naming these linebackers, these pass rushers. But I mean, honestly, I would say just from that game, that's kind of the two guys that I kind of love to watch.
You played for one of the most unique defensive coordinators in Don Capers, a guy that would drop defensive linemen back all the time. He'd blitz defensive backs and drop BJ Raji, like you were saying, got a pick 6 of the Super Bowl. Very crazy scheme that he worked with. That used the depth a lot. What was it like playing for him, and what are some of the things that he really taught you when he was your defensive coordinator?
Well, I must say that he's a brilliant man. He was a brilliant man, and to honestly, to get to know his scheme, you had to really become a great player. You had to become a student of the game, and that's what we focus on. That's what my position coach Kevin Green. Shout out to my boy Kevin Green, one of the best coaches I had, also a Hall of Famer. But the whole game plan was to learn how to become a better player. And learn to become a student of the game. The more you know and everybody's position, the better you become in that defense. So our defense was pretty, you would say complex, but if you learned the game and you know your guy's position, it just made it 10 times better. So a lot of things that we can call on the run made it not easy because everybody knew everybody's position. And sometimes that can be tough trying to get everybody to know everybody's position, being that everybody doesn't learn the same way and this and what. But, that's what that's what his mindset was. And by doing that, it took a lot of time, took a lot of repetition, and you wanted the best out of you. There was no days where we took kind of days off. Practice was always full tilt. It's practice how you put. If you go, and our thing was learn the violent nature of the game. So playing under him, it just made me a better player and a better student of the game. I wasn't just able to be a pass rusher. I knew defenses. I knew the different coverages where, why when we run a 4-3, where the corner would be without even knowing. So it just made me a better student of the game.
Diyral, when I ask players this, and I ask recruits or playing college football, even NFL players or ex-NFL players, I do a show here on an FM dial with Eric Coleman. He played in the NFL. You know who Eric is. He played for the Jets. He played for the Lions, and he played for the Atlanta Falcons for 9 years in the NFL. And I've asked him this question. Is there a particular player that stood out to you, and as far as a comedian, a guy that made you laugh all the time, if it wasn't on your team, another team, that really just stood out to you when you played in the NFL, and do you have a story behind it?
Let me see. Let me think. Who did I thought that was pretty hilarious? I can't think of his name. He was a cornerback for San Francisco, and he played for Pitt. But he was a little bit older than me. I can't think of his name, but he looked like Eddie Murphy, and he was very. I mean, when you're talking about funny, I mean, he was. I mean, he had you dying laughing. I mean, this joke. He'd say something like, "Man, what I'm saying." He'd be like, "Man, somebody put something in his mouth because my zipper jammed." Just something like that. Just funny. Like if somebody's talking smack, man. I mean, he was just one of them guys that it was just natural for him. And like you said, and when I say he looked dead on Eddie Murphy, he did. I can't think of his name. He was actually, I wanted to say he did pretty good, especially at.
We're actually looking him up right now. We're trying to find who it is.
I can't. He's from Pittsburgh. He was around the time that came out.
Shante Spencer.
Yes, Spencer. Yep.
I recognize the name now. Yeah.
Yes. I'm talking about funny. Hey, funny. I mean, he was so funny that he was actually writing up skits during the time he was playing in the NFL. I used to come to his room and he used to show me the little skits that was hilarious, and shout out to him. I hope he's still doing some great things, man, with that. But he was funny, man. He was definitely hilarious. Older guy, and like I said, he had everybody dying,
All right, so this is a two-part question from one of our fans that is a big Chicago Bears fan. His name is Carl. He's from Chicago, lives in Tampa. Tell him I'll buy him a beer. I'll buy him a six-pack if he can name the backup quarterback that came in for the Bears when Cutler got hurt.
I know this one too.
You asking me?
Yes,
Yeah.
he wanted me to ask you who was the backup quarterback that came in for Cutler when he got hurt in that game.
Hey, to be completely I have no damn clue.
I actually remember it for some strange reason.
Who is it?
It is Caleb Haney.
Caleb who?
Caleb Haney was his name. I remember that for some strange reason. I think that was only one of the two games he played in the NFL. It was in the NFC Championship game.
You know what? It's so crazy that I really didn't remember the game because everybody was so shocked that Cutler went out that game. Everybody was so shocked because we was like, he wasn't. I don't know. I don't want to talk about that man and his injuries, but that's funny. I did not. I really don't. I did not know that was that backup. Sorry, bud. A lot of people don't even remember me, so it's okay, man. It's okay. It's okay.
He also wants to know your thoughts on Julius Peppers.
Julius Peppers, as in, is he a good player?
He's a good player. What did you think as a teammate? Really, what did you think of him as an NFL player?
I actually think right now, with how the NFL is transitioning, I think he could be a great player. His energy, once again, I think, and making a great company. It's like you guys, everybody has to play a part, and everybody is unique. If they have some talent to bring to the table, that could just makes the team and that makes the company 10 times better. And I feel like him with his energy and him being very versatile to play a lot of positions, I think he's a spark that could be something that you need. Once again, that's the type of guy that could be played on special teams, and I want people to know how important special teams is. It could be a game changer. You get a block punt, put you in great field position. You get a kickoff return, you stop somebody down in the 20. That's all. That's the all game changing difference. So with him, I think he's a great spark, man. I like watching him play. So to me, that's just my personal opinion. But once again, the game is totally different. Do I think he probably, what did he probably play back then? I don't know. But right now, I think he's a great fit for the NFL.